Hi, Lou Fernandez here for Mac Tips. Today we're going to be doing a review of the fantastic new lifestyle appliance rectangle from Apple Computers. Now, of course, this is the iPad. Now, is the iPad worth all the hype and craziness that you've been hearing about? Well, that's what Mac Tips is out to find out. So we bought ourselves one of these fancy devices. And here's the breakdown. When you first open the box, you'll find that besides the iPad and its electric hookup devices, there's another box inside, this little tiny box. And inside that box are 3 items. Now, the first item is something called the Important Product Information Guide. Now, we here at Mac Tips found that this information guide is basically a bunch of useless legalese in an illegibly small font. And not to say it's totally useless, it did have this one nugget of information that you should listen to, and that is, don't drive or ride a bicycle while using the iPad. Now, this was kind of a blow to me personally because I had been working on a steering wheel mountable iPad holder so that people can watch TV when they're driving. But apparently this is a bad use in Apple's, Apple's purview, so I've withdrawn those plans. However, I still have plans, since they're not mentioned, for a skateboard mount and a commuter train engineer mount so that people who are driving trains don't get bored. Besides the Important Information Product Guide, you'll also find inside the classic free Apple stickers on the rectangle that you might mistake for a piece of white paper. If you need help with figuring out what to do with the stickers, please see Mac Tips Sticker Tip found in this YouTube channel. And then besides the stickers, you have the iPad instruction sheet, which is really just a 2-sided file card. One side contains a picture of the iPad in case you didn't know what it looked like, and the other side contains some very basic instructions which basically tell you to hook up the iPad to a computer. Now, you just unboxed your iPad and you were ready to go right away. You're like, I got it in my hand, it's time to iPaddle down the internet, woo! But right out of the gate, the iPad is telling you to slow your roll. So, you plug it in, and the first thing it's going to tell you is it wants you to plug into iTunes. So if you don't already have a computer, you bought this to be your only computer, you're going to have to rethink your strategy. Because this needs a computer running iTunes. It could be a Mac or a PC. But if you don't have a computer, you're going to have to go to the computer store place and buy yourself a computer that has iTunes. Alright, so once you've attached your iPad to your new computer, and you've gotten through iTunes and all that stuff, you're ready to go. You're actually on the internet now with this iPad and able to surf the net and also look at movies and download apps and all this other stuff. But now you're saying, Lou, from Mac Tips, I don't want to pay Apple computing devices to watch movies. I already spent $500 on this and then another $1,000 on a new MacBook. What am I going to do? Well, the great news is you don't have to pay Apple for movies or content of any variety. You can easily steal movies and music and other things off the internet and then use a program like Handbrake to convert them files. If you don't know what I'm talking about, ask a young person and they'll be happy to share how they steal movies with you. Now, another thing you're going to notice about the iPad is that when you try to plug it into your iPhone charger the way you did with your iPhone, your iPod, who has one of those, it's not going to charge. It'll still connect to iTunes, so you can still, load up your stolen movies. But if you're trying to charge it that way, that's not going to work. And that's because this device needs a lot of power when it's charging. And you can only get that through actually directly connecting it to the USB of the Mac, not a hub, or through an electric wall hole, which most people have in their homes. So if you're going to own one of these iPads, it's something to consider that you probably want to be near an electric wall hole or your Mac plugged into one of those wall holes every 8 to 10 hours. And that's if you're, watching movies 10 hours in a row. And that's something to consider because if you are a really hardcore movie watcher, you're going to want to be connected to that wall. And that, some people, that might be a deal breaker. Okay, so now comes the hard question. Is the iPad for me? Well, if we're talking about me, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I fucking love this thing. And for me, the main things, I spend a ton of time on the internet, like way too much time. And I love going to the bathroom with the internet. I love, ignoring people who are talking to me with the internet. I mean, this is the perfect thing. You can always be on the internet as long as you have Wi-Fi nearby. And that is just a great thing. And also, the real bonus for me is that now I can instantly annoy anyone at any time. I don't have to wait for them to be in front of the computer. I don't have to drag them in front of my computer and be like, hey, come check this out. I can just be like, you know, my wife can be watching TV and I can be like, oh shit, look at this movie I saw, pow! In your face. Stop doing what you're doing. You're watching my movies now. It's an instant annoyance thing, and I love it. Now, if you're an early adopter, someone with a lot of money, you probably already bought one of these, and watching this video has been redundant. And for the rest of you, yeah, you want one. Do you need it? No. You have a computer already. You have an iPhone. You can watch movies on the iPhone if you want to, or iPod Touch. You don't need to have them be this big. This is unwieldy, and when you're on the train, people can see what you're watching, and you know, everyone feels bad about themselves because you got this like kick-ass thing, and everyone's like, whoa, look at that, you know. It's in your face. And if you don't want one of these, it's most likely because you're like you're just waiting for someone to come out with the Windows 7 version, or like a version that you can put Hackintosh onto the iPhone OS onto it, because you're like a super nerd and you want everyone to know that you're running the OS on like the, you know, Asus or Acer, you know, thing that you hacked, whatever. You're just a nerd or whatever. Anyway, my name's Lou. This has been Mac Tips iPad Review. We'll see you soon.